The Disappearing Hours. Chapter 1. The Unusual Roommate. As a sophomore, my financial aid barely covered the cost of textbooks, let alone rent in the bustling city. Desperate for a place to call my own, I moved into an old house with a peculiar history. The 19th century mansion was a sprawling Victorian relic on Elm Street that had been vacant since before I arrived at college. Its faded beauty hiding behind years of neglect and grime. A dilapidated porch creaked underfoot as I lugged my meager luggage up the crumbling steps to meet Sarah, my roommate, .e. She answered the door with a warm smile amidst an eerie silence. "Hey, thanks for being on time." Her raven hair was tied back in a ponytail, framing bright blue eyes and porcelain skin that seemed almost translucent in the dim light. "Please call me Sarah. Thanks for taking this place," I replied, tossing my backpack onto the floor with a sigh of relief. "It's a steal. Can't believe it rented so cheap." The doorframe leaned against us as we stepped inside. Inside was a different story. Cobweb chandeliers hung dimly over stained wood floors and walls painted an unnatural shade of pale blue, like someone had dipped them in moonlight. Sarah gestured to the sprawling living room with a sweep of her arm. "This is it." The air felt still yet thickened by secrets unspoken. "Mind showing me my bedroom?" I asked, eyes scanning the space that seemed frozen in another age. She led me past a grand piano shrouded in a sheet and up the creaky stairs to my new domain, an attic room with a single window overlooking the street below. Shadows danced across the walls as night crept in through stained glass panes. Sarah left me to unpack, promising dinner at 8. I settled into bed as the wind howled outside, its mournful moans echoing through the house. Later, while studying by candlelight, the flickering flame illuminated strange symbols carved into my doorframe, arcane runes that seemed to pulse with an otherworldly glow. The next morning, Sarah mentioned Mr. Bellwood, our enigmatic landlord who never met us in person but paid rent promptly each month. Rumor had it he inherited the estate from a deceased aunt. Sarah claimed her family's history was intertwined with his since childhood. Over omelets at a nearby diner, she hinted at whispers about this place being cursed, how some vanished without a trace or others heard disembodied voices in dead of night. Her eyes darted around as if wary of eavesdroppers. "Don't worry," I assured her, dismissing it. Folk tales surrounding a cheap room shouldn't define reality. Sarah's laughter came too late. An unsettling silence had descended over the diner by the time we parted ways. Days blurred into routines amidst books and part-time work. Nights often found me lost in history texts, tracing forgotten eras within the house's walls. One evening, my pocket watch vanished while I read on the piano bench. Panic mounted as I searched until exhaustion claimed me. In the morning, it reappeared, ticking away at an erratic pace, like time itself was disoriented. Sarah noticed nothing out of the ordinary, but I knew she lied when her eyes flickered with secrets. At lunch, watching students hurrying to class, I found my phone face down in the living room, 2 hours missing from its last charge. I confronted her between stacks of dusty books. She claimed ignorance before slipping away. As dusk fell, Sarah vanished without a word. Chapter 2. The Vanishing Time. Beneath the attic's eaves, darkness clung to every nook and cranny like dust mites. Sarah's disappearance gnawed at my gut as I sought answers in dusty books or conversations. Nothing linked missing hours to her absence yet. Hours began to slip away unaccounted for. 30 minutes in class, 40.5 on the clock when returning. I glanced down at my watch. It ticked slower than usual, but still present. A friend's phone rang and rang until voicemail picked it up with my name. Hours old. My heart raced as I hurried home. Sarah sat on the floor amidst the books, her eyes wide in the dim light. "You won't believe what happened. Where have you been?" The question cut off on her lips as she vanished behind a bookshelf. A dusty tome clattered closed, and she reappeared in front of me. "I was trying to tell you about this place, about Mr. Bellwood." Sarah's voice wavered, eyes darting at the door. I grabbed both our arms. We huddled close, listening for signs of an intruder, but only silence embraced us. She whispered tales of his experiments in chronology and a mysterious pocket watch he'd discovered, said to steal hours, days from the owner. He vanished. In that moment, my timepieces tick quickened. A cold draft brushed against my neck as Sarah continued. "This house, it's hungry for them." My mind reeled while Sarah spoke of Mr. Bellwood's research, a chronal pocket watch hidden in the attic. I raced up to find it. Dust motes danced through the beam of light, and something scuttled at the edge of perception. Shadows? My hand closed on wood before I saw the relic nestled behind trunks. The watch pulsed with an unsettling power, hours flashing backwards. Unfathomable dread swelled in my chest as Sarah reappeared by the trunk room door. "Don't touch it." Too late. An unseen force pulled me into a swirling vortex. Colors blended together before I was back at my desk, dazed and dizzy, the watch gone. In the ensuing days, time grew more erratic, moments ticking backward, then forward without pattern. Sarah avoided conversation, locking herself in her room nightly. One evening, as night descended, I heard her cries for help through the wall. "Michael, get out!" With hammer in hand, I burst in to find her bed stripped bare, a single message scrawled on the sheet. "Run." Chapter 3. The Final Hour. Chasing Sarah proved futile until I stumbled upon an old letter in Sarah's journal. Bellwood had discovered time manipulation, but it came at a terrible cost. A devouring hunger for hours, days, everything. Horrified, I pieced together his research from scattered pages. In the last hour of existence, I'd have to make a choice. Escape or lose all I knew. I gathered every chronal device. Watch, phone, anything that could help, then fled. Outside, wind whistled through the broken porch screen as night deepened. A figure emerged, shadowed and hunched under a wide, brimmed hat. Mr. Bellwood's eyes, sunken with secrets, met mine. "Your presence accelerates its hunger." His voice was low, laced with regret. I ran for the door we'd forgotten to lock behind us. In the hallway, Sarah lay motionless, an ethereal glow encircling her form like a shroud. Behind us loomed Bellwood and his pocket watch on a chain, ticking like a harvester of lives. "You're not him," I spat. He followed me into the kitchen where shadows danced in the darkened corners, time's flow distorted by his meddling. Sarah woke with a gasp. Our eyes met before she whispered urgently, "Go." As Bellwood lunged, hands grasping like skeletal fingers, I grabbed my backpack and the watch. Outside, moonlight cast an eerie glow on the porch as the world moved in slow motion. With every step away from that accursed pocket, time regained its natural flow. The door slammed shut behind us, a final barrier between this place and our lives. My pulse roared. From the distance came Bellwood's anguished scream, echoing with each retreating second. hours devoured by an insatiable hunger. Sarah stumbled beside me. She'd run more than I. As we neared town, shadows retreated, dust settled on forgotten histories, and our breathing synchronized. It was 5 a.m. Together, we left the accursed relic behind, leaving a trail of questions, lost knowledge in the attic, and a haunting realization. Some things aren't meant to be unlearned. I glanced at my watch. Its ticking had ceased. The pocket's hunger sated? Perhaps. Yet with every tick after that fateful day, minutes lost their rhythm. Then seconds, and Sarah whispered behind me, "Time heals," before she vanished into the dawn haze, a different kind of loss. I walked on, each step leaving another piece of my sanity in the night, as an observer to what was rightfully mine again. The steady march of hours, days, hours stolen, yet somehow cherished by a part of me that never left this accursed place. In the distance, I heard Sarah's voice. Michael. Her smile flickered with a haunted beauty. I'm already late. And so we parted ways amidst an unspoken pact, to move forward but carry fragments from where time and memory collided. In an eternal fugue state between minutes and hours, days gone forever, yet felt still present. Time's relentless passage carried us along separate paths. The pocket watch remained buried, a silent sentinel beneath our shared history. Some secrets should remain lost within forgotten tales, but some lessons lingered on pulsating skin, imperceptible echoes of what transpired between the tick and tock of ticking lives. I never know if it was mere obsession or fact. All I knew was that after each step out of town limits, more minutes slipped away with every breath until none remained, leaving only this haunting thought: I'm late.